Hi people. Today in Reddit Wanderers we will see one of the best posts in Reddit, in the subreddit known as AskReddit. Let's start with it. Teachers of Reddit, what's your most NSFW story from your workplace? In high school, we had a beloved teacher and I am still friends with him to this day. However, he viewed taking attendance as a big waste of time, and his class was enjoyable, so kids rarely skipped it. So he'd just give the class a once-over and try to notice if anyone was missing. And sometimes kids would yell out that a kid was sick. Well, on this particular day, he marked everyone as present, including a kid that was not in class, as he was busy murdering his uncle. So the teacher had to go to court and say on the record that no, he is not providing an alibi for the student. He is just terrible at attendance. The administration really got on his ass about attendance after that, and he was good about it for a few years, and then he went back to his old ways, saying it's very unlikely I'll have another murder during my class. I watch a lot of true crime stuff, and my first thought halfway through your story was, what if a kid goes missing? Then it took a more gruesome turn, lol. A girl posted videos to Vine of her penetrating herself with a banana and a hairbrush. Kids quickly found out it was her and almost every campus around knew about it. She was deemed Banana Girl, and she graduated early to avoid bullying. Sad part is, she actually died in a car crash a few years later. I subbed at a school once where we had a special ed kid who would not stop pooping in the stairwell. They had teachers escorting him from one class to another. He was theoretically supervised at all times, and yet every week or two he managed to slip away long enough to drop a deuce in the stairwell. I still pity that poor janitor. My friend's teaching mentor was insane. She told crazy sex stories to him and a bunch of interns, sent pictures of men in genital cuffs to co-workers. All kinds of bizarre stuff for any workplace, but definitely for someone who teaches 11-year-olds. I have too many. The one that sticks out the most is the time my teaching partner and I were working after school. He went down to hall to use a bathroom and saw a line of high school boys coming from out of the girls' bathroom. He taps one on the shoulder and asks what's going on here. Lo and behold, an honors student was in the girls' handicapped stall letting the boys' basketball team run train on her to get them pumped up for the state playoffs. Of course she was expelled, but was allowed to walk for graduation in May. Some people let their freak flags fly. This chick was 6 freak flags over Texas, and if she'd just gone into the boys' bathroom, no one would have known. If you are enjoying this video, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, to subscribe and to hit the bell for more videos like this. Caught 2 students having sex on top of a slide on the playground after school. It was one of these slides with the covered waiting area at the top. Her face was sticking out of the front of it and his ass and feet were sticking out of the back. She saw us, another teacher and I, first and started screaming that she was stuck on the slide. He freaked out, banged his head on the inside and essentially tumbled back down the steps while trying to get his pants up. They were 5th graders BTW. Holy sheep. That is the only response to this story. School maintenance here. 2 come to mind. At one middle school a boy came running into the office to tell everyone that he saw 2 people in a stall together in the bathroom and that a girl had been blowing a guy and that the guy had a huge dick. But I can't remember what word he said. He didn't use the word dick. At another middle school a teacher who had a bad case of the flu lost control of her bowels in front of her class. She must have been aware it was coming because the diarrhea started in the middle of the room and there was a huge trail of it from the middle of the room to the hall. We have custodians but another maint guy and I were close by so we cleaned it up. I felt bad for her. She went home but was back a few days later and stayed for the rest of the school year. I'm sure there are more stories. Been doing this for 20 years now, but I can't remember what word he said. He didn't use the word dick. The thought of a middle schooler walking up to you and saying this girl is sucking a guy's dick, and his dick is huge is utterly hilarious. Had an autistic kid in our class. 2 teachers, myself included, who wasn't potty trained despite it being in a class level where he should have been. He shits himself. The other teacher is like TNT. Go get him changed and I'll keep the kids busy. I take him to the bathroom and go to grab his backup pants. The other teacher shrieks because one of the other students is pelting toys at her. I go to take care of that mess. Takes me all of 30 seconds. I come back to autistic boy and he has stripped himself and smeared his shit all over the walls, toilet, sink, himself. It's a shit tornado. I almost quit that day. There's a couple. The biggest one was my mentor was caught sharing genital pics with a student that he found on a gay website. Yes, he was married and just like that I was on my own. The one that caught me off guard was I had a student from a foreign Asian country and she came up to me after class one day asking questions about science. These questions quickly transitioned into a weird place when she started asking me out, saying things like I don't mind having an older boyfriend. Bear in mind her English wasn't the best. I quickly guided her out of the classroom from then on. I've told this story several times, but here goes. I was an occasional substitute teacher in the town where I went to college. The band director often requested me to come teach if she was out sick, since I was a music major and could work with the kids on their parts. Get in for a day, and my instructions were to break the kids up by section and have them practice their parts. I spent the next hour listening to a miasma of sounds from woodwinds, brass, strings, etc. but no drumming. If you don't know any drummers, they're always playing or banging on their laps, tables, steering wheels, etc. Curious me goes to investigate the drum room, and I walked in on the token female drummer flashing her breasts to the boys in exchange for money. Another couple minutes, there probably would have been some banging. Had a student run up to me and say that someone had been stabbed in the girls' room. Turns out that a 5th grader had started their period. She later got the talk when she got home. Similar shit happened to me, but in 4th grade. Had no idea what a period was, and just walked around all day thinking the blood seeping through my white jean shorts meant I was going to die. Everyone saw it. Nobody said anything. Not even the teachers. And it was St. Patrick's Day. Edit. Wow. My most upvoted comment is about my period. Reddit's a weird fucking place. Edit. Thank you stranger, for my second ever silver, and, oddly, my second silver today. I'm a paramedic, not a teacher, but we ran a call at a high school one day for a girl that was feeling sick. After questioning her for a while trying to find out what was going on, things just weren't making sense. We get her in the back of the ambulance away from parent and teachers and she finally opens up. Apparently she recently started giving her BF oral sex and he wanted to finish in her mouth. But semen really grossed her out. So in order to get over her phobia, the BF thought a little exposure therapy would do the trick. He provided her with a Ziploc bag full of semen so she could ingest it all throughout the day. She only made it to about 10 AM before becoming violently ill. Poor girl. I felt so bad. I had just begun class. Freshman comp at a community college, and was going over what the day's plan was. A student walked in a few minutes late, sat down, and pulled out his computer. Upon opening the computer, very loud moaning sounds of porn emanated into the room for approximately 3 seconds. Once he got it to stop, he shakily said, "I'm sorry." I stood at the podium and said and a couple of times and then, "Give me just a minute, guys." I stood there looking down at the podium, trying to collect my thoughts as calmly as humanly possible, so I could continue class like nothing happened. After around 15 seconds of pure and uncomfortable silence, a kid from the back of the room let out a 2-syllable, guttural chuckle. I lowered my head to behind the podium with my hands still clasping onto it above my head as I bent over and lost my shit. I laughed hysterically and uncontrollably for at least 30 to 45 seconds, emulating Stewie's ridiculous laugh from that episode of Family Guy but with far more wheezing and high-pitched squealing. The entire class started laughing with me as soon as I started. After I was finally able to collect myself, I apologized to everyone and said I was sorry, and that I had tried so hard to remain composed. Later, When telling this story to other faculty, they agreed that there's no time in pedagogy classes devoted to the appropriate reaction to porn noises being played during class, and that I did the best with what I could by not calling the kid out. I literally didn't make eye contact with him once, or kicking him out of class for something that was embarrassing enough as it was. Side note, the kid stayed for the entire class. I was impressed. TL. Dr. Kid's computer blasted porn audio. I laughed uncontrollably. Then I apologized for losing composure. Lol. I accidentally did something similar in a corporate environment. An older female colleague was the only witness, but I remained slightly embarrassed for years until I left. I was having problems showing a video project to her. I sometimes did work on a personal laptop. Anyway, I force quit VLC and reopen it. VLC decides to autoplay the last open file, which happened to be an amateur deep-throating, up-close camera shot. OMG, the heart just sinks as I scramble to stop it. I've never blushed so intensely and quickly before. She was actually pretty cool with it after the initial weird out and agreed to act like it never happened. I walked out of class during a prep period to go upstairs to talk with another teacher. In the stairwell there was a female student blowing a male student. The worst thing was she didn't stop even after I yelled. Many things have happened at my school, but this is the only one I have personally witnessed. It's like they say, if someone walks in on you giving a BJ and you stop, you are the weird one who was caught sucking it. If someone walks in on you and you don't stop giving a BJ, they are the weird one for watching. This girl took pictures of her dog eating peanut butter off of her VG and then sent it to her boyfriend. He proceeded to share it with the whole school and then the teachers found out. Edit. Username is from my grandmother commenting on a picture of me making an odd face with WTF Christine. She thought WTF was short for why the face. Student taught at a high school in a more rural area of Georgia. Had a freshman end up in a wheelchair for a while after trying to have sex with a horse donkey mule. Conflicting stories. He ended up in psychiatric care by the end of the year because he was writing letters to some of the girls detailing horrific sexual acts he wanted to do with to them. At the second place I student taught at, I asked the class if they had any questions after going over the requirements for an assignment. I had a girl raise her hand and after I called in her, she proceeded to ask me if it was possible to fill a condom with shit and then use it to go fuck myself. She was immediately sent to the office and was removed from that classroom. That's a pretty creative insult. Edit. I know what an Alaskan pipeline is. It's just I've never heard anyone use it as an insult before. Not me, but the woman who taught across the hall from me. She was teaching a 9th grade math class and her classroom had those old-fashioned pencil sharpeners that attach to the wall and you turn the lever to sharpen your pencil. One of her students was sharpening her pencil every day during class and seemed to take a long time to do so because each time she would stand at the back of class sharpening her pencil for 2 minutes or so. After a week or so of this, the teacher went to ask if the student needed help sharpening her pencil. Turns out the girl was putting her vag up against the pencil sharpener and was using the vibrations to get off in the middle of math class. If you enjoyed this video, you can leave a like, comment and subscribe and hit the bell for new daily videos.